You are now listening to The Survivors Series with Kyle Fields, a One Love Media production.
This episode contains depictions of extreme acts of violence. The content may be disturbing and could trigger strong emotional responses, including PTSD or other past trauma. Listener discretion is advised.
From the creators of That's Life comes a series about survival, about those who have faced the unimaginable and lived through it. These are their stories.
I'm Kyle Fields, and this is the Survivor Series. On the night of September 30th, 2005, in the small town of Pampa, Texas, a peaceful farmhouse became the scene of an unthinkable massacre. A family was slaughtered in their sleep. Their home turned into a nightmare in mere minutes. But amid the horror, one voice, a young girl's voice, made a 911 call that would shock even the most seasoned 911 operators. Her name is Robin Doan. Just 10 years old at the time, she survived by doing the only thing she could: pretending to be dead as a cold-blooded killer moved through her home. This is Robin's story.
Sheriff's Office, 911.
Ma'am, there was a shootout in my house. I don't know who's alive in my house, and I'm scared.
Where are you at?
7142 Highway 70. It's about 13.3 miles out from the bowling alley.
What's your name?
Robin Doan. My parents are Michelle Conrad and Brian Conrad. I'm scared after this, and I don't know what
Robin
to do.
Doan?
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Conrad.
My mom is alive.
Okay, I'll stay on with you. I've got the ambulance and the fire department to come too, okay?
Thank you so much.
They're coming. Stay there. You don't see any other vehicles or strange people around your home or anything?
No, ma'am.
You didn't see a car drive off of any kind?
No, ma'am.
You just heard the shots fired?
And I saw the lights on in the kitchen, so I'm assuming they stole some stuff.
Okay.
I can't believe it.
Okay.
And all I want right now is my blanket and my pillow. I'm scared.
I know you are.
I'm scared.
I know. Just stay right there. Okay, you there?
I hear more sirens.
Yes, they're coming. I've got the ambulance and the fire coming for you. Okay?
I want my mom.
I know you do. I know. There?
Yeah, I see another police car.
Okay, that's Dennis. That's Deputy Elliott that's going to be there with you, okay?
The Doan family home sat alone in a wide open field of the Texas Panhandle, surrounded by nothing but farmland and the occasional dirt road. The house itself was a modest single-story farm home, quaint, quiet, and isolated. At night, the only sounds were the chirping of crickets and the distant rustle of wind through the fields. It was the kind of place where people felt safe, far removed from the dangers of the outside world. Inside that home lived Robin Doan, her mother, Michelle Conrad, her stepfather, Brian Conrad, and her oldest brother, Zach. The family was close-knit, and at the time of the attack, Michelle was 6 months pregnant, eagerly anticipating the arrival of a new baby. The house, though simple, was filled with love. But on that September night, evil found its way to their doorstep. The man behind the killing, Levi King. Killer in the making, Levi King was a drifter with a violent past and a mind plagued with darkness. Diagnosed with several mental illnesses, including schizophrenia, King had a long history of instability. His life had been marred by brushes with the law, a fascination with weapons, and an apparent lack of empathy. Before arriving at the Doan home, King had already committed murder. Just 24 hours earlier, he broke into a home in Missouri and shot two strangers in cold blood, stole their guns and their truck. But that wasn't enough. Fueled by uncontrollable urge to kill, he stole a gun, crossed state lines, and continued his spree. One that would end at the Doan family farmhouse. The attack. It was the dead of night when the first gunshot rang out, shattering the silence. Robin, startled awake, initially thought she was dreaming, but then came another shot. And another. And another. Her heart pounded as she listened to the chaos unfolding down the hall, hearing her mom scream, the unmistakable sound of gunfire, the desperate cries of her family. She jumped out of her bed and crouched by the door to see what or who she could see. And then, footsteps coming towards her room. She raced back to her bed as fast as she could. The figure stood in the doorway. Robin squeezed her eyes shut, willing herself to disappear. A shot rang out. And then another. One bullet grazing her left arm. The other bullet missed her by inches, striking a plastic bin beside her bed. The force of it sent a sharp crack through the room. In that moment, Robin made a split-second decision. She was going to play dead. Even as she watched him turn to her brother's room and hearing more gunshots, hearing her brother moaning, knowing he was dying and there was nothing she could do. And for 2.5 hours, she did just that. Pretended to be dead. Lying perfectly still in the darkness, she listened to the eerie silence that followed the gunshots. She didn't know if the killer was still in the house. She didn't know if he would come back. All she knew was that if she moved, she might die. The 911 call and the aftermath. When Robin finally found the courage to move, she ran outside and dialed 911. There's blood everywhere, at one point you could hear her say. Her voice, trembling but steady, painted a picture of the horror she had just lived through. She told the dispatcher about her family, about the gunshots, about the unbearable silence that followed. Texas State Trooper Chad Brooks was one of the first on scene, recalling, "I couldn't get there fast enough. What in the world could have taken place, and why is she the only one on the phone?" When police arrived, they were shocked to find her alive. The entire family had been executed, except for Robin. Investigators couldn't understand why the killer had left her behind. And for a moment, they even questioned whether she had somehow been involved. But as they pieced together the scene, it became clear. Robin had survived because she outsmarted a killer. her killer. Levi King was later arrested in El Paso, Texas, in the truck that he stole in Missouri, just minutes from the Mexican border. When questioned, he showed no remorse. He admitted to the murders, but gave no real reason. There was no motive. Just senseless, random violence. Where is she today? Robin Doan didn't just survive that night. She refused to let it define her. Over the years, she has spoken about her experience, using her voice to inspire others. She has carried the weight of that night, but she has never let it break her. In court, in front of Mr. King, she said, "I've endured this, but you're not taking my life away from me. I'm not giving you that control." Despite losing everything, she built a life. A new life, a life where she's not just a victim, but a survivor. She forgave Levi King, saying, "I don't want to live with the fact of being bitter and being angry all the time. I forgave Levi King because me forgiving Levi King is my sense of peace. It's my sense of, this is how I was raised, and this is my family coming out." Robin's story is one of unimaginable loss, but it's also a story of resilience. She faced pure evil and lived to tell the tale. Survivors like Robin remind us that even in the darkest moments, there is strength, there is survival, and there is hope. Join us next week as we tell the story of Jennifer Morey, a woman who survived an attack by a fake security guard who broke into her apartment. Another story of survival, another testament to the strength of the human spirit. This has been the Survivor Series. I'm Kyle Fields. Until next time, thank you for listening.